She goes, are you sure that you want to do a full marathon? You could also do the San Diego half marathon at the same time. I'm like, nope, sign me up for the full marathon. And so she does. So I reach out to that running coach who's also in that group. I'm like, hey, I need you to write up a training program for me where I can go from pretty much never running, just lifting weights, to being a decent runner and being able to run and finish the San Diego Marathon, because I'm going to do this in 6 weeks with my wife. So long story short, that's how that all went. But now keep in mind, I'm running the marathon. So, gun goes off, boom, 6 weeks later, we start and everything's going fine. Mile number 10, 11, 12, I start feeling the real fatigue setting in. Now my knees and hips and ankles are hurting. Now keep in mind, back then I was 240 pounds. I'm now 226, handsomeness of 226. But I was 240 pounds on a lot of Ceston, on a lot of testosterone, and I was designed to lift heavy weights, right? That's how I told what I told myself. That was a story that I told myself. And I share this with you because at this point I'm running, carrying a lot of weight, but I felt confident until mile number 12, 13, 14. And then my body just started cramping and falling apart. Everything was hurting, including my beautiful, massive traps. And I'm like, fuck, this is not going to work. I should have done the half marathon. Now my wife's running. She's excited. She's happy that her husband's running a marathon with her. And guess what? I start seeing people, mile number 15, 16, 17, starting to drop left and right, cramping, grabbing their knees, grabbing their hamstrings, grabbing their chest, everything. People are just going all types of cramps, right? And I'm like, holy shit, I know what I need to do. I need to fake an injury. I'm already hurting anyway. Now at this point, I'm running straight up on willpower, right? And at this point, I need to figure out what injury I'm gonna fake, collapse to the ground, roll a couple times, and go, I can't finish. Right? That is the fucking inner voice. That is that little bitch voice. That is the devil. That is the critic telling me that, like, dude, you bit off more than you can chew. This is enough. You've gone 16, 17 miles. Why do you want to do more? Why do you have to prove yourself? Why are you going to try and finish this? You don't need to, right? And I started that negotiation process. Now, mile number 19, 20, 21, right? I really start the negotiation process. And I see people, again, falling, quitting, giving up. And at some point, mile number 24, 25, we're talking 2-3 miles away from the finish line. People were quitting. And at this point, instead of having this negative negotiation with myself, I was willing those people not to quit. I'm like, no, don't quit. I figured if I just focus on them and put one foot in front of the other, that maybe I'll just somehow cross that finish line having all this immense pain. And that was the first time I was able to fight against that inner critic doing something so difficult, so painful. Remember, had I trained for 6 weeks, beyond 6 weeks, like 12 weeks, 24 weeks, half a year for a marathon, it would have been a different story. Had I lost, let's say 20, 30 pounds of muscle so that I would have been lighter and more conditioned, I would have done that marathon without feeling massive amounts of pain and cramping and injuries, right? Like I had toenails falling off at the end of this thing. For months after, my shins and my femurs were hurting. Like the fucking bones were hurting, right? And that's because I was putting so much jarring weight on it in such a short amount of time. Guys, and I share that with you because there was such a great opportunity for me to quit and give up and fake an injury, and nobody would have known but me. And for the first time in my life, I chose not to do that. I chose not to do that. And that marathon, the fact that I accomplished that marathon, built so much confidence in me in such a short amount of time. 6 weeks is not a long time when you think about it. And every day that I would go out and do my routine, my running, 1 mile became 2 miles, 2 became 3, 3 became 6, 6 became 8, 8 became 13, right? 13 became 16. At the longest distance that I ran during the 6-week training was 16 miles. And the marathon coach is like, but don't worry, if you can do 13 to 16 miles, you'll be able to do 26.2, a full marathon. Yes, that is true. But I was still highly deconditioned. 6 weeks was not long enough. But I willed myself. I fought that inner voice. I fought the devil every step of the way. And I share that with you because I realized in that moment that I stacked so many wins during the 6 weeks. And then during that marathon, I stacked the biggest win, that I made the promise and I finally kept it. And it felt so good. And so I want to share this with you because I realized there was so much to be gained from that, right? Confidence. You gain confidence, and then you begin to build your self-esteem, and you overcome self-doubt by stacking little wins over time. And then periodically you'll get those big win opportunities where you can negotiate, you can find a reason not to come, but then you go to that battlefield or you get on the field anyway, right? When I think about the project is a 75-hour experience for men who want to develop themselves, right? We run the project. One of my instructors is a Navy SEAL. The other one's a Marine. And then I teach life management, time management, productivity, entrepreneurship, making money, etc. And so it's physical, mental, emotional for 75 hours. And then we put them in a 12-month mastermind. And then it's 12 months of coaching. The project is this awesome, amazing thing. It's like 12 months of like full on pouring into these men who go through the experience.